Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Caroline Benson, better known as Caro B. She's an American singer and songwriter who has been singing since the ripe age of 5 years old. Her voice is soulful and robust. She debuted her worldwide radio release, You Can Be My Boo, on July 9th. It hit on the top 15 on the UK Soul Chart. She's got fans from all over singing this catchy song. Caro, thank you so much for being with me today. How are you?
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. I'm so blessed. Thank you. This is amazing.
I was telling you before this interview started how obsessed I am with this song. It is so catchy.
Baby, boo. Yes, it is.
Who is this boo? Who is this boo that you're talking about?
This boo. Oh my God. I've had so many boos. I just love that phrase.
Yeah.
I love it when people say, hey, boo, what's up? You know, and I grew up in Washington, D.C., and, you know, there were so many slangs like boo and so it's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure everyone's had their own special boo.
Yes, that's true. Well, speaking of growing up in D.C., tell me about your younger years and what got you into music in the first place.
Yeah, it started when I was for instance, I actually started piano at age 5.
Okay. And
then I started singing. We have a family of 5, two brothers and 2 sisters. And we basically were the Asian Von Trapp family. We would go to houses and we would just be singing, you know, like the Von Trapp children, and entertaining people in people's houses. And I just, you know, so I was the only one that really kept singing. I took it up in school, was in the choruses, and then my parents and even myself, I started to realize that I had a very mature voice very early on. And so I just kept doing it. And you know, through junior high and high school. But I was still an instrumentalist first because I was a piano player and I was a instrumentalist in the band. So it was really important to, you know, the music theory and all that was important to me. But singing was really starting to, you know, show to everyone that I had a talent there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I basically sang when I was younger in different organizations. I was born here. My parents were born in the Philippines.
Okay. And,
you know, there was a Filipino organization that showcased my talent. And I just kept singing. I loved it. And then I auditioned for UCLA and I got accepted into their music program.
Oh my gosh.
And then that's what brought me to LA.
Wow. So how was it being first generation as a Filipino in the United States? I mean, your parents are immigrants. How was that? Like, how did that discipline you? I'm sure,
you know,
were they supportive?
Oh, absolutely. They were very supportive of my talent. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I never thought I was Filipino though. I mean, it sounds kind of strange because I was so Americanized.
Right.
I mean, you know, everything I did. The only way for me to kind of, you know, start to understand my heritage is that within my community, they had, you know, if we wanted to learn our language, we could take lessons called Tagalog, or if I wanted to learn folk dancing, that was available to me. So I belonged to a organization called SIPA, which is the Combined International Philippine American Organization. And that's why I learned that I was Filipino and that I had, you know, that I belonged, you know, I learned about my heritage. I mean, of course, I learned it from my family as well,
right? Because
they spoke, you know, in the household. But I pretty much lived my life as, you know, as an American. And then as I learned about my heritage, I was a Filipino American. And when we were just a step back, when I was younger, my parents spoke to us in the language. But when we started school, unfortunately, they wanted us to start learning English. And so they told our parents to stop talking to us in the language. And then I just kind of forgot. Wow. I forgot how to speak the language. And that's one regret. I wish I kept, you know, they kept speaking to me in their native language, that I probably could speak it today. But But
Wow.
hey, you know, I'm still Filipino through and through. So
Yeah. Have you been to the Philippines?
I have not. I have not.
Do you
I
see
know.
that trip coming?
I do. I do see that trip coming. I have a lot of relatives. They're really excited about my music and my career.
Oh.
So yes, I would love that. That's definitely something that's going to be coming up in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, girl, I'm all for it. Okay, so you grew up in a musical family. You were sort of the
Yes.
singer. Do you have any siblings? You said 2 brothers, 2 sisters. Did anybody else sing? Or were you kind of like the lead? I mean, you have a soulful voice. I can't imagine this little 5-year-old girl, because you're petite anyways, but like,
Yes.
you know, it always amazes me to see someone of like a petite stature and their voice is like, you know, like it's gripping. It's so.
Well, you know, I guess I could just, I've always had a great passion for singing. And I remember when I was in, I think it was 5th or 6th grade, and singing in the chorus next to, you know, I was in the, I guess I was an alto then. I didn't. And I remember the 2 little girls next to me would be like holding their hands over the ears because I sang so loud. I just wanted everyone to hear me.
Yeah.
And you know, so I had a tendency to sing too loud, but I was in tune. I just wanted, and they were like, "Oh, you're too loud." But I said, "Well, I want everyone to hear me." So
did you ever get a solo from that? Did you get a solo? Were they like,
did.
oh.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. They were always asking if I could be, you know, sing the little solo in the song.
Right.
And I was always willing to do that. But yeah, I was never afraid to get up on stage to sing. I'm more afraid to stand up on stage and talk. But if I had to sing, no problem. I mean, I could be nervous, but once I was on stage, I knew exactly what to do. So,
you're a natural. You were born for it. Well, in college, it sounds like you know, by day you were a student and by night you sang in clubs, right?
I did. It's so
there was
funny.
a chuckle there. Tell me some stories.
Well, some of the story we would have, I was in their UCLA Madrigals, and which is an a cappella choir. And we would have rehearsals at night.
Oh.
Sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
Because getting ready for a performance. And I had one rehearsal, I had a show that night. So I had to come into rehearsal. Our rehearsal was like from 6 to I think 9. And I had to rehearse wearing what I was going to wear to my performance. So it was really just kind of funny because it was this kind of gold lame kind of outfit.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I could have changed into it but I had to really rush off.
Right.
So I had to kind of be wearing it and then put the makeup on after or whatever I needed to do. And it was just the looks they got. And I said, what's this all about? And I said, well, I have a show afterwards. A show? They go, yeah, I perform in a nightclub on Wilshire Boulevard.
Right.
And they go, oh my God, you sing at a club? And you know, we were about, 19, 20-year-olds. And then they're still in school. And here I am. I have this nightlife of performing, in clubs at night. So I would literally be studying during the day, taking classes, and then going and performing at night.
How was your voice? How did it hold up? I mean, I feel like, what is your degree in? It's in music, right? Or
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So how did you train your voice to like, I'm sure you talk during the day and then you're like up at night singing and.
I study classical music. Mm-hmm. So I had voice lesson every day. I was in performance groups. And so there were my magical choir. And then of course I had to take my general ed classes, but I had to fulfill all my music, requirements as well. So to prepare for my shows, I would be singing whatever, the top 40 songs at the time. So I would transition my voice from singing in a more traditional way when I sang classical. And then when I sang, a pop song, it was just kind of a lazier type of singing.
Which did you prefer? I mean, do you prefer the more classical, like structure, or do you like the I mean, listening to You Can Be My Boo, I feel like it's, a little more loose in the vocal cords.
I appreciate the structure that I learned from classical music.
Mm-hmm.
It helped, the breath technique that I've learned. It really helped when I could sing pop music, or anything jazzy, R&B, because you have the support, in your diaphragm to kind of like sing some of those riffs. And, I'm not a big, I've never been a big riff singer.
Mm-hmm.
But what was unique about my voice is that I had a solid tone. I had a tone that was sustained. I could manipulate it without having to overdo it.
Right.
And so it just had a nice, there's a certain quality to my tone that I really worked on, and it had to do a lot with ear training, singing in key. I don't have perfect pitch, but I have something called relative pitch, which is basically I can sing any song, but I may not sing it in the same key, or I can hear a tone and I can tell exactly what that note is.
Yeah,
I'm probably half step off, but it was just, there was a certain uniqueness in my tone that I really worked on. So,
well, it shows.
But the classical music helped. It helped with the breath support and the technique.
Totally. Who are some of, like, you said you sang covers. What were some of your favorite songs to cover?
Oh my gosh. I sang Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston.
Oh.
And forever. I mean, I sang it I did a lot of song contests when I was in LA. They had a lot of open mics, a lot of karaoke contests.
Mm-hmm.
And I always sang a Whitney Houston song. Mm. And when I did, I usually won. Because Whitney
and
Houston,
her range is like insane.
Oh yes. Oh my God, she's one of my idols, as well as Celine Dion, and any of the vocalists. Really, there's so many amazing singers out there.
There really are. Well, that's impressive. If you do a Whitney Houston contest, I mean, truly, she is one of the all-time greats, in my opinion.
People could tell that I knew what I was singing about. It wasn't just the words. It wasn't just me singing words. So that they can feel that I knew what I was singing about. And what's interesting is because I think I got that for a lot of the Filipino organizations. They have me singing songs in Tagalog, which is their native language. And since I didn't really understand it, I would sing a lot of these love ballads. Someone had to interpret for me what I was singing about, because I didn't know the words.
Right.
I didn't understand. I didn't know how to read it in their language. I didn't know what it meant, but I can tell by the music alone that, okay, this was a ballad.
Mm-hmm.
The very, the orchestral, the sound, the love song-y kind of feel it had. So I knew that it was a love song. So I'd have to pretend that I was singing about being in love, or that I understood what I was singing about, because I didn't understand the words. So I think I just paid attention to that when I was singing American songs or English songs.
Yeah.
To really, understand the music and the song and go with the feeling. So,
well, I'm going to take a page out of this book that we're talking about right now. And you shared a verse on your social media. It reads this: I lie awake at night. I think about my life. Is it just too late? It used to be easy. It used to be so real, but now it just gets harder every day. I mean, let's talk about those like, what is this verse about? And, those are some powerful words. And you said when you perform, you feel the words. And I'm like, I want to know, what was this all about?
Well, wow. Yeah. That's a really powerful song that I will be releasing soon. But it was a time in my life when things weren't going so great, middle part of my life, and I didn't know if my dream was ever going to come true. And I'm thinking, what happened? One day, all my dreams were here. It's everything that I ever wanted, and I could see that they will come true. And then the next day, it was gone. And I seem to have lost the confidence in in my voice, in pursuing what I love to do. And it was pretty dark. It was a pretty dark time because music to me is like the blood in my veins. It's something that I do very well. It means so much to me when I sing, when I write. I pretty much pour everything into it. So when I felt like when I wasn't waking up every day thinking about music or what am I going to write next or what am I going to sing next, that's when I felt like, what happened?
Yeah.
What's going on? I need to find this. I need to find this again. I did. I wanted to, but I had to capture this feeling.
Yeah,
I do, because if I ever get there again, I need to know how to get out of it again. And a lot of it is through writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really putting it out there and saying, how are you feeling? Why do you feel this way? What do we need to do? And surround yourself by a support system that will believe in you. But that was a pretty, I try to write as truthfully as I can. And I know sometimes it can be dark. And some people say, wow, it's so depressing. I go, well, that's, sometimes it's truth. Not everyone's life is, is sunshine and roses. And, we all go through these dark periods. And it's okay to do that. It's okay that you go through them. It's coming out of it. It's what's important.
I mean, reading that, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to the words, but I read it and I was like, I just knew speaking with you today, I was like, I had just this ultra calming sense. I think a lot of us deal with these doubts. And when I read this, I was like, girl, she's real. Like, you're real, you're down to earth, you're willing to like maybe talk about the uncomfortable parts. But then there's this triumphant end where I'm like, you have this awesome song that I adore. And I was dancing to it this morning. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, Sarah, thank you so much. I wanted to mention that I was watching the Emmy Awards the other night, and Cheryl Lee Ralph, who's an African-American actress who's been around for decades. She won supporting actress for being in Abbott Elementary. And when they announced her name, she couldn't believe it. Oh. She kind of sat there and they had to stand her up and walk her to the stage. And I knew exactly how she felt, because she's an actress. I think she's in her 60s now. Mm-hmm. And she's been on everything. I mean, her body of work is like this long.
Right.
And I think she sat there and she was so amazed that finally someone recognized all the hard work I've done. And she was so grateful. And then she started saying, I want to thank, the producer of her show for believing in her.
Right.
And I felt for her, because if it wasn't for my music producer, Reggie Staggers, for believing in me and saying, hey, we need to get back together. You need to get your music out there. I really believe in the universe coming together and making things happen. Mm-hmm. Because as soon as we, reunited as producer and artist, things just started happening. Mm-hmm. It really does take someone to believe in you.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
Yeah.
And the testament to all the people that have really worked really hard, and then they've had their dreams come true. And I'm living that right now.
Yes, you are, ma'am.
Oh, honey, I have a platform to put out any music that I want, anything that I write. I have an audience that wants to hear what I have to say. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking this for granted. It's such a blessing. And there are so many people out there that need to know that if they have a dream, it can happen. Just don't give up.
Well, this leads me to the question. So, and you kind of answered it, but I'm curious to know, what was the best piece of advice another musician gave you?
Oh my gosh. The most important thing that people are always telling me is that just continue to believe in yourself. If you believe you have a talent, let people hear it.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Take care of business. If this is what you're meant to be or do, then don't stop. it's not like you were talented one day and not talented the next. You've always had it in you. It's there. You just have to bring it out, and you have to believe in yourself. So that's what I would tell people.
Yeah, no, I think you're so brave. I think a lot of times whenever I'm at a show or a concert or even in a jazz bar or whatever, and I see a musician up there, I'm like, oh, they have to be so confident. They have to have all their ducks in a row. They have to be so, because they look on stage like this perfect person performing, and it's like, gosh, I wish I had that. So wonderful to see that not everybody has their ducks in a row. Not everybody is perfect up on stage. Like, you have doubts and fears, and people are cheering you on, being like, you got this, Caro. Don't worry about it, honey. It'll come. I just thank you so much for being so real and open about it, because I think sometimes people aren't inclined to kind of share that.
I want to share that with people. I used to think, no, they don't want to hear, that I don't have an audience, but I realized that I do have a piece. It's amazing. I'm just so excited. I can't wait, for my music to go out there. I have a couple of new singles that are coming out, and I can't wait for people to hear it.
So when are your next songs going to be dropping? Tell me about that. Like, what do you have in the works?
Sure. I dropped actually a dance remix version of "You Can Be My Boo."
Yep.
In the UK, we'll see how that goes, and we're going to be dropping singles every few months. That seems to be our strategy right now, as opposed to putting together a full, dropping a full album. So
I love it. Well, we are going to be back with you in January when that drops. I'm telling you, we are following your journey. What do you want to tell what do you want to tell your fans? What do you want to say to them? This is the platform to do it.
Oh, I wanted to say to my fans that, hey, thank you everyone so much for all the love and support. I'm feeling it. And, let's, as a community, let's be strong and be kind to each other, and, and just be the people that we're supposed to be, and, loving each other and just making this world a better place, and be strong, and, go after your dreams. It can happen.
I think your soul just shines through. I think there's just a special quality about you. You're endearing, and you're just authentic and true to yourself. And I genuinely want the world for you. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today and just talking about your life and your story. And I'm so, so glad I was here to do it with you.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, of course. This is not a goodbye. It's a see you later. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caro B.
Right.
We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.